Welcome back to the Divested Zealot Response channel. In this segment, we're going to focus on interracial relationships and interracial dating, and we're going to give you the real spill behind what it means. It doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean anything about love. You see, when you see these interracial couples, they are not in love with each other. Do not fall for the illusion. Do not fall for the trickery. Even the black woman and the white man that you see before you, they're not in love with each other. You see, when these white men and these black women, when they get together, see what they're trying to do, they're trying to chase what they can't have. You see, for the white man dating a black woman, he is trying to chase something that naturally he does not possess, and that is melanin. He don't possess melanin, so he's trying to use the illusion of love as a way to obtain something that this black woman that you see on this picture, that she has, that he does not have. You see, he was born white and he will die white. She was born black and she will die black. They both came into this world separate races. He understands that his white race enslaved her black race. And she understands that his white race enslaved her black race. He knows that his people wronged her people throughout history. And she knows that his people robbed Africa, enslaved black people throughout history. But when they engage in these relationships, in their own imaginary worlds, they are trying to deceive their own selves. It's no way that he and her can have sex with each other and not notice race. It's impossible for him to sleep with her and for her to sleep with him and they not notice race. Because you are what you are. When he looks in the mirror, he sees a very contrast difference between him and her. And for her, likewise. And here's another thing. They both feel awkward. Even when they are by themselves, they feel just as awkward as when they are out in public. But in their fantasy world, they try to suppress what they really feel. So when you see these interracial relationships, they are really playing a game within themselves to see how much of their natural self can they suppress to be with someone from another race. She is trying to suppress everything that she knows about the white man history in relation to her people. So when she is looking into his eyes, she is suppressing in the back of her mind everything that she knows that his people did to her people. But in her mind, she's telling herself that he is different and he is from a different race and that she don't see no color, but it's a lie. She's not even in love with him. And he is not in love with her. Likewise, he is playing a game to see if he can be the exception to the rule when it comes to white men and racism. So he is playing this game in his world of fantasy to see if he can defy the rules of race and the label of being a racist white man or being a part of the racist white culture. You see, this is what he is trying to challenge himself with. And what they are calling love between the two of them is if they can together defeat what the public has said cannot be a black man, a white man with a black woman in love without slavery attached to it. That's what this game is about. It's not about her loving him and him loving her. It's about a social image that they are trying to display. And many times they do it for the attention. They are thrill seekers. When you see black men, primarily when you see black women with white men, it's a thrill seeker, attention seeking relationship. And here's the thing. The black woman in this ordeal, she forgets who she is. The European man that you see, he don't forget that he is a white man. Because he is already born into the ruling society at this epoch moment in history. Because white men have not always ruled the world. But at this particular epoch moment in history, he understands that he is within the white power structure. So she is the one in the relationship who loses herself. In her mind, she tries to erase history. So she will avoid being around black people or talking about black situations as it relates to racism. She will try to avoid it, and she will try to forgive the wrongs of white people to her people just to be with this white man. She has to act differently around his family. She has to lose herself to be with this white man. Certain things she won't say around him, certain behavior that she display around her black people, she won't do it around him. So the person that she offers to him is not the same person that she displays around her people. Because she realizes that she is dealing with a man that has a different nature. And he realizes that he is dealing with a person who has a different nature. So it becomes a game of who can penetrate through the other's nature, and who can suppress how they really feel the most. That's what it boils down to. She's trying to suppress her blackness, and he is trying to suppress his character. So it boils down to a game of who can put on the best disguise. So basically, they are playing dress up every day in their life. They're basically acting. They may as well have a movie director and someone saying action before them every day. Because neither one of them are happy. They're not dating each other from the same place that they would if they were dating a member of their own race. It is impossible. And you know how I know it's impossible? Because she is from the seed of a black man and he is from the seed of a white man. So by nature, she was already programmed with a design to be the preserver of the black man's seed. And him by nature, he was programmed to be the preserver of the white man seed through a white woman. And we're going to get to the children that comes from these mixed couple relationships, because they are the ones who suffer the most in this evil, wicked game. You see, they are always awkward. They always feel awkward out in public. And their children, their children suffer the most. And we'll explain. You see, even in moments like this, he feels like he is attacking her. She feels like she is being captured and about to be put on a slave ship. Don't let the little smiles fool you. He don't feel right grabbing her because he is not of her race. There is no love between the two of them. It's a fake game. It's a game of seeing if they can suppress nature itself. They are trying to defeat nature. They're trying to say, nature, I know that I was created for a black man. And he is saying to himself, nature, I know I am created for a white woman. But I am going to fight against it and pretend that I am in love with a black woman. And vice versa, she is saying, I am going to pretend that I am in love with a white man. The smile she has on her face right now, it's fake. I kid you not. She is expressing a fake smile. He's not holding her, saying to himself, I love her so much. No, he can't. She is from, her roots go back to the soil of Africa. He can't love her by nature. She can't love him by nature. So they're playing a game. It doesn't matter if he got the little dread twisties in his hair, which are not dreads, because white people can't get dreads. Those are not dreads. That don't matter. He can try to be as earthy as he want to be. Even that in itself is a game. Him getting with this black woman is, in his mind, it's making up for his lack of melanin. He wants to play the role of a black man. He want to feel how the original people feel. He wants to be the black man with the black woman, but he wasn't born with melanin. So to compensate for his lack of not having melanin, he chose to get into this make-believe relationship with this black woman. And this black woman, who is suffering from Stockholm syndrome, by her getting with the white man, she feels like she is escaping the reality of what white people have done to black people. In her mind, she feels as if she is taming the conqueror by obtaining what they said she couldn't have. She feels like by getting with this white man, that somehow she is escaping the reality of the bondage that his people put her people under. So she feels like through the master's bedroom, there is an escape. She feels as if she have the children of this white man, that he would have less enmity for her. And that word means less hate for her. She feels like by having sex with him and having children for him, that he will somehow forget that she is black. And then the world around her, this racist construct, white supremacist system around her, will forget that she is black. And that somehow she will gain some type of special privilege amongst the black race. In her mind, she feels like in this game that she will be a token black woman. So when other white people see her, they won't feel that she is, well, a slave like the other black people. She want to feel special. And another part of the female's nature is trying to change something from what it is. Now, a lot of you have heard about how women will date the bad boys because they want to change them. Well, that's the same mentality these women take into these relationships when they get with the white man. Now, this guy on the screen, he's not a thug or a bad boy, but his race is attached to thuggery. Through colonialism and robbing and kidnapping and enslaving black people. So in her mind, she feels as if she can catch the bad boy, the white man. Now, he's the archetype for the white race, meaning he may not be those things, but because he is white, through his blood, he is connected to those people. No, I'm not judging him saying that he is a bad person, that he puts his hands on her. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is, just by him being white, he becomes a bad boy in her mind. A bad boy because he is a part of the race that enslaved and robbed and pillaged and colonialized her people. So she feels the same mentality that women have when they date thugs or bad boys or men that be in and out of jail. These women feel that they can change these men and somehow tame the wild animal that's in these men, the beast nature. So she feels like she can use her black magic, her femininity, to somehow tame this white man in order to change the world. She feels like she will end racism by sleeping with this one white man and by having his children. So when she have a child, she can walk around in a world where racism exists, and through that child, without her saying it, she is saying, look, world, I did it. I conquered racism. But in reality, she didn't conquer anything. It's just a game that she is playing because the child that she has. Now we're going to get to the children that come from these ungodly unions. Gotta call it how it is. You see, the children that comes out of these situations, it's a twofold thing. Now let's get into the children that come from these unions. You see the child. Now this is on Instagram. This is a public site. They put themselves out there like this. They're bragging about their interracial couple relationship. So I'm going to use it as an example. They got it out there for the world to see. So I'm going to use it. You see the child in the middle? The child is a boy. He got the nose of his mother, as you see. Let me blow it up some. He got the nose of his mother, as you see. He got the eye color of his father, the hair texture of his father. He's not even the race of his mother. They got two different hair textures. So this child is the seed, it's still the seed of the white man. And the child gained just a tad bit more melanin than the father through the black woman. But still, you can clearly see that this child is not a black child. So through all of that faking and illusion that they are trying to pass off, they didn't accomplish anything. Because at the end of the day, that white man will die and be buried amongst his family. That black woman will die and be buried amongst her family. His white family is not going to bury her with their white family. So it's all in a game and an illusion. This child will die and he won't carry on the black race. He won't carry on the white race. He is what he is. He's a mixed race child. So what did they accomplish? Now they'll be out in public and saying, look, world, we got love. But sleeping with someone from another race, that is not accomplishing anything. When you have wronged the people, if you want to accomplish something, you are a white man and you get with a black woman. If you want to accomplish something for her people, then pay reparations. Get your people to pay reparations to her people. And if she loves him so much, like she is trying to give off an illusion of, then get his people through your love and making babies. Then talk to him to get his people to pay your people reparations. And if you're not going to do that, then what is all of this about? This is just slave sex. They're not doing anything new. It's the same thing that was going on during the time of slavery. Just creating a biracial child. For what? They were doing this in slavery. The only difference is they got Instagram these days and he can pose and smile and have the slave woman next to him in a picture to make it look like it's no problem or issue. But there is an issue because the way the world is set up, Their people have not amended the wrongdoing that they've done in the past. So he is still living off of the persecution that his people did to her people. They never healed the past, but they're going into the cookie jar of the very people they enslaved, having babies. The same thing his ancestors were doing when they were sleeping with black women on a plantation. There's no love. Love is a word. It means nothing without action. The greatest love white people can do is pay up some reparations. Not bending some black woman over and impregnating her, creating a mixed race child. This is nothing but an experiment. And the thing is, he can leave her tomorrow and go back being a white man. He can cut all of them little twisties out of his hair and go right back to the white race tomorrow and join the KKK if he wanted to. Just like his ancestors doing slavery. They could impregnate a black woman and be the president tomorrow. Ask Thomas Jefferson, who had a black mistress by the name of Sally Heming, who had biracial children for Thomas Jefferson. So he's not doing anything different. He can go right back into his white world tomorrow. And what does this child fit in all of this? You know what happened to the child? The child becomes confused, just as confused and awkward feeling as the both of them. They create the same awkwardness in their child, in the feeling of their child, the same way they feel awkward when they are together. You know that child feel awkward and out of place. Any child would in a world like this. Imagine how that child feel when he got a white father and a black mother picking him up from school. He got parents from two different races. The child confused. He can't bring about the survival of either race through his seed. So they take away the purpose of a man. By creating a biracial child, you take away the natural purpose of a man. The natural purpose of a man is to preserve life, his race. But they snatch that away from that child. So that child can't preserve a white race with a white woman, and it can't preserve a black race with a black woman. So they took away the manhood of that boy. What side is he on? He's on nobody's side. He's mixed. They took away his manhood. The first law of nature is self-preservation. But he can't self-preserve biracialness. You preserve your race. They took that away from him. They're not healing the world. They're playing a terrible, selfish game. He confused. He can't tell about her history of black people, and he can't tell about the history of white people. You know why? Because he can't preserve blackness, because his own physical nature cannot preserve blackness. So he won't have the same connection to black history, even though he has a black mother. Because when he look in the mirror, he don't see himself as a full black man. So it's impossible for him to have the same amount of love for blackness. It's impossible. Just like me, I am not a Chinese man. So it's impossible for me to have any amount of love for Chinese history. because I wasn't born an Asian. I can't preserve the Chinese language because that's not me. So look what they have done to this child. Ruined him. Ruined this child. Now, I'm not saying they can't provide for him food, water, clothing, shelter, but those are material things. What about how the child feels about himself? Money can't buy how a person feel about themselves. This child will not have confidence. They ruined him. And any type of man that don't want to reproduce himself, that's a beta. So this white man, you see, he's a beta male. You know of any kings, great pharaohs who went outside of their race and had children? So when they die, the heir to the throne would look different from them? Does that make sense? What kingdom, you know, the successor to the king looks different from the king? They keep the rulership in the family because the first law of nature is self-preservation. So this is wickedness. This is wickedness. Look at these pictures. Look at this. Look at your wife's bum. He's not looking at that woman like a black man would be looking at a black woman. He can't look at a black woman the same way. When a black man looks at a black woman, he's looking at something that preserves his race, that preserves the features of his seed. If he's black, he have children by a black woman, he preserves his hair texture, his skin color, and all of that. So this white man, he can't look at her the same way that a black man will look at a black woman. It's impossible. He looking at her like it's a game. He's looking at her like some zoo animal. But he's not going to come out of his mouth and say it, and she feels awkward. She's not going to tell you, but she does. They feel awkward. And that's why you see all of these interracial couples, they got to make these Instagram profiles and these YouTube channels to further fool themselves like they are enjoying it, but they're not. Because if they was enjoying it, they would just go off into the world to themselves, and they wouldn't have to post an Instagram page or a YouTube channel. If it's just regular love, then why making a big deal out of it? You know why they got to make a big deal out of it? To create an illusion to themselves that this is not awkward. So that's why they go over and above to prove to themselves that this is real love. They go over and beyond to treat each other nicely because they're trying to make up for the awkwardness. And the only way to make up for the awkwardness is to be extra nice, extra gentle, extra careful, take more photos. Because in reality, they're not happy. They're playing a game. None of them are happy. And another thing, you see the white man, I just see this another white man with a mixed race girl. The white man is trying to convince himself that he is a part of the original people. He wants to partake in producing melanin, but he can't do it with his white woman because a white woman and a white man can only produce white babies. Had a little technical difficulty. And as I was saying, see, the white man and a white woman can only produce white children. So by getting with this black woman, he is trying to convince himself that he can produce more than white children. He want to convince himself that he can create black babies of all shades. He want to convince you and himself that he can create brown children. He want to feel a part of the melanated people. He want to convince himself that he can create people with woolly hair and not just stringy blonde hair, weak hair, recessive hair. It's all a game. But they don't love these people. He can kiss on a woman, have sex with the woman, but he is never going to say to himself, if he had the opportunity, that he would hit a switch on the wall and reverse the power structure in this world to where black men would have more power than white men. He would never trade places like that. He loves being in that position where he has first dibs on women all throughout the world, because he understands that these black women are brainwashed. He sees channels like Divested Zealot. He sits back and watches it. You don't think he's going to not take advantage of it? He's a man too at the end of the day. He understands that it's easier for him to sleep with non-white women than it is for him to sleep with white women. Because look at all of the rhetoric that in the swirler community and the divestment channels praising and worshiping white men. He sees it. A lot of times they sit in those chat rooms and they don't even say a word. But they see it, and they see the sick mentality of these black women because they the ones who created this problem. They know they enslaved black women for 400 years. They know exactly what time it is. So don't think for a minute they don't. So when you see these interracial couples, it is nothing but a farce, an illusion. None of them are happy. And when you see the white women do it, the black women, when you see them in it, it's because they're trying to lie to themselves. They're trying to have something they can't have to make up for some void inside of them. Maybe they didn't have a father. Maybe their boyfriend cheated on them. Their black boyfriend or whatever. But they're trying to run to this white man because they feel like he is the change that they can't have. See, women, they love to bend the rules. It goes back to that bad boy theory I was telling you about. She feels like I can change this man. I can make him my pseudo black man in a white body. It's just a game. And they know it's a game. And at the end of the day, they are never happy. And when they have children, they don't even feel like they had a child. When they have these biracial babies, they don't see themselves in these children. They see some Frankenstein experiment. Then they feel even worse. And that's the reality of it. So don't be deceived by these little smiles you see and these little panels like Divested Zealot making you feel like they've divested to something better, because they haven't. And I'm going to leave you with this. You can never be black enough. But a person can be too white to the point that person, that man, that woman will not even be able to walk outside without the sun burning them up. So this whiteness that these divestors are trying to tell you is better, if it was better, the white man that they go to, he could turn himself whiter and it would be a benefit to him. But it wouldn't be a benefit to him. It'll be to his demise if he turned himself whiter and whiter and whiter. But it would be a benefit to the black man if he could turn himself blacker and blacker and blacker. It wouldn't destroy him going out into the sun. It would even be a more benefit. The more melanin, the greater you are. The more whiteness, the closer you are to getting burnt out of existence by the sun itself. So don't let these divestors lie to you, thinking that when they leave the black man, they go to the white man, they're going to have some better kids. No, they know them kids are weaker genetically. The white man don't got enough melanin to equal the affection that a melanated black woman needs. She can only get that energy from a black man. But we don't want them once they go over that side. When you go over that side, stay that side. And many times they walk around with their white men in front of black men trying to make black men look. They want black men attention on them. They still want you to look at them because the white man don't give them the attention that they truly desire. And they wind up feeling awkward, lying to themselves, pretending that they are in love when they are not in love. And that's why they have these panels constantly talking about black men, because he is in the back of their mind constantly, because they can't live without the black man. Every race was created with a counterpart. And if that counterpart no longer exists, then that race cease to exist. And that's all that there is to it. And this is the Alpha Black Lion signing out. Fire burn them.